Nigerian newspapers have today been reporting about a meeting in Paris, France, between President-elect Bola Tinubu and Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, the presidential candidate of the new Nigeria People's Party. The parley, which was reportedly brokered by Kwankwaso's ally Abdul Mumin Jibrin, the House of Representatives member who defected from the APC to NNPP months before the 2023 general election. Details of the meeting are still sketchy, but both men would have been expected to discuss a government of unity. For a bit of insight into the Tinubu-Kwankwaso meeting in Paris, we are now being joined by a ranking member of NNPP, Buba Galadima, with specific focus on a possible alliance between the two politicians. Many thanks for joining us on Newsday.
Thank you very much, Tope.
Now, Mr. Galadima, I don't know if you can tell us a bit more about the meeting in France between President-elect Bola Tinubu and Dr. Rabiu Kwankwaso.
Well, Tope, you know, everything in Nigeria is news. Ordinarily, a meeting between two leaders doesn't attract that kind of ecstasy by the citizenry. However, I want to also place on record that I have not been in the meeting, but I had some idea before this meeting took place. Personally, I was supposed to have been there, but as I speak to you, I'm just coming from the hospital. Since my coming from Saudi Arabia, I had been indisposed, so undergoing several tests. Coming back to the topic, you know that Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso contested against the president-elect, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in the 2023 election. You said we came forth. Of course we did, because of the circumstance of the time. However, I thought journalists will be reading correctly into situations. After the contest, we are one party that did not go to court, even though we are the only people who have credible reason to go to court. That in itself speaks volumes and can be interpreted in several ways. The actual situation is that meetings of such nature, or even the issue of unity government that you had mentioned, even though I wouldn't know the details, it's not something that is new to Nigerian politics. It happened in the First Republic between the NCNC and the MPC, that is the Dr. Azikwe's party and Sir Ahmad Bello's party. Later, there was also a unity government that was formed between the NPC and the NNDP, led by Chief Samuel Akintola of Western Region. Of course, it is also on record that during the government of Alhaji Shehu Shagari, the NPP, led by Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, also had a working agreement with the government of the NPN, where Chief Izuoke was made the speaker, while Dr. Joseph Wes was the president of the Senate. And also, it should be remembered that it's history that is repeating itself. And this is why there is need for people like us to appear on such program, such that we educate the young people to know the history of their country, the development of their country. If any of you could remember, in 1979, when elections were held and Alhaji Shehu Shagari scored the highest number of votes and had spread in 12 states out of 19. And that was contested. If you could remember, Professor Ogunjobi of blessed memory had to go to the tribunal with a large board trying to show why 12 2/3 as proposed by Chief Richard Akinjide was not what to be. And also, during that time, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, and Alhaji Waziri Ibrahim, all of blessed memory, had to take a charter plane to Kano to meet Malang Aminu Kano, the leader of the PRP, also of blessed memory, to try to convince him to join the trio so that together they will torpedo the success of Alhaji Shehu Shagari. It is on record that time that Malang Aminu Kano refused to see them when they were even at his Mumbai house. And later on, when they left, Malang Aminu Kano issued a statement that night saying that he contested to be president. He was not successful. Therefore, he would not support any group of people that would try to deny somebody who had scored the highest number of votes, has got the largest spread, because it will be ungentlemanly, or it will cause a chaos and instability in the country. Therefore, he would not partake in that union. That was how, when Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe came back to Lagos, he went into negotiations with Alhaji Shehu Shagari, and he became that alliance between NPP and NPN took place. So also now, the heir apparent of Malam Aminu Kano in the radical northern politics is Senator Rabi Musa Kwankwaso. And the same group of people, Obi may be representing Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, and maybe Atiku representing Alhaji Waziri Ibrahim, are ganging up against this government. Our major interest in all this is the stability of Nigeria. The second issue is that everything Nigerian have to be sorted out on the table rather than through I don't know what kind of word I will use, but if that meeting of the two leaders, as we envisage, will assist move Nigeria forward, so be it. However, details of what they had done, we will wait to see until Senator Rabi Musa Kwankwaso arrives in Nigeria and he briefs members of his inner caucus, brief his party, then we would be in a better position to speak. However, even if that happens, I would suggest that they would rather allow those that are purported or were said to have won the election to make the statement first rather than us. Thank you, Tope.
Well, thank you very much for that, Alhaji Galadima. Now, you said something earlier. You said that the NNPP is the only party that has credible reasons to go to court, yet you have refused to do so. So is it because your party had envisaged that there would be some sort of compensation, or does it lend credence to speculations that the NNPP had only been in the race to divide the votes of the PDP?
Not correct. Not correct. We were first, we have to place on record that it is the PDP that has expelled both Senator Rabi Musa Kwankwaso and myself. So we wouldn't have been in a race just to stop them from becoming, from winning an election. But you also know that even going to court entails a lot of resources, which we didn't have. Our performance was measured only on our credibility rather than the deep pocket we had. For anybody to go to court and challenge the presidential election, that person must have to cough not less than 5 billion naira. We don't have that kind of money to do that. And the truth of the matter is that if you use your common sense, since the beginning of Nigeria, I don't think there was any time that successfully litigants at the national level have challenged the president and got reprieve. And we are students of history. We don't need to waste our resources when we know that even if we are there, the likelihood of success is near zero.
Okay, so in the event that Dr. Kwankwaso agrees to work with the president-elect during his administration, I'm wondering what then becomes of the NNPP as an opposition party. Should we be expecting a wave of defection to the ruling party?
We cannot speculate on that. And let me tell you, that is why, as a journalist, you have to do some research. When NCNC worked with NPC, they didn't lose their identity. When NPN worked with the NPP, NPP didn't lose its identity. When NNDP worked with the NPC, they didn't lose their identity. And quite recently, in 1999, when NNPP worked with the PDP during General Obasanjo's time, NNPP did not lose its identity. But there is always a danger in that, because my experience, personal experience, is that anybody that you've sent to work with the ruling government, if you are not lucky, you stand to lose that kind of person. But let me also say that even outside Nigeria, our neighbors here in Niger Republic and other French colonies, whenever there is an election, the opposition parties get commensurate positions with the total number of their scores, and they partake in government. And when their party needs them to resign, has always been an evidence that they resign in mass from the ruling government. So we wouldn't know what was the discussion. Was it personal? Was it official? Was it about working together? Was it about alliance? Was it about margin? Nobody knows until the details are out for us to know.
Okay, so while we are waiting that detail, I would like to take us back to the campaign period and the election itself. Now, part of the criticisms that the NNPP faced at that time was that the party was largely a regional party, and some people believe that the results also reflected that. So I'm wondering what plans are in place, to give the NNPP a national appeal.
Well, the truth of the matter is that people saw who was the most popular candidate. People saw who is the person with a plan, with a blueprint for Nigeria. People know that who among all the candidates who had the pedigree of performance while in public office. People also know that Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso was the most educated and a man of integrity is on record. So, and the mere fact that you know more than anybody, Tope, that this election was not about performance, was not about integrity, was not about what you had done before. It is about how much money you have in your pocket. All the others, you know that better than anybody. And therefore, they compromised our structure. They compromised our candidates to get us to where we are. And because we started late, it's a new party that we took over. We hurried to put structures. We hurried to put candidates. Next time, if we have an opportunity, we will be wiser. And the party could have been more known than what it is today.
Now, you once stated that your only regret in this country is that President Buhari has left Nigerian polity bedeviled by religious and monetization issues, which is even worse than rigging. Now, what advice would you give to the president-elect on how to tackle these issues?
Well, he should know better that there was nothing that this sitting government today of General Buhari did not do to stop him from getting there. He got there maybe because of the system. So, as far as I'm concerned, any government that will not fight for electoral reform such that the vote of the people will count, then you count me out of it. And my advice is that I had fought for this. I was in the forefront of enforcing card reader, and because I went Ghana to understudy how the card reader was used under Professor Oferi Gang of the National Ghanaian Electoral Commission. The man had been there for 23 years. Unfortunately, the professor in Ghana, Oferi Gang, is unlike the professors that head INEC in Nigeria. Most of them, if not virtually all, were a disaster and a disgrace to the academia, to the country, and to the system, because they could not muster courage to do what is right. So all of us Nigerians, it is our duty to make sure that we stand up, to make sure that the votes of the ordinary Nigerian is counted. But now we have seen that people have taken money and voted for people at various levels, including various states of the federation. Let them not expect anything from those who paid them to vote for them. They have already taken, they've already taken from their harvest. So this now leaves us with only making sure that we beg those who are going to be in position to be God-fearing, or because they have already paid for the position in which they are likely to occupy as from May 29th.
Well, I'm still talking about electoral reforms. Some people are of the opinion that our electoral laws should be further amended. For instance, to impose sanctions, on INEC officials who misbehave during elections. And also there should be no swearing in until all election disputes have been resolved. What's your take on this?
Well, first, Tope, I want to acknowledge the fact that you are not a politician. Therefore, you don't understand. I was one of those that is very critical of the eulogized Uwais report. Because, for example, Uwais wanted to even divide INEC into two, one to conduct the election, one to register and look after political parties. And Uwais thought of establishing an electoral court where people will be taken and prosecuted, forgetting the fact that Uwais himself was not a politician and he doesn't understand. When laws are made, it is not made for all of us. It is made for only for the people on the other side. Have you ever heard that the electoral empire had ever prosecuted a government person and all the rigging, all the violence are perpetrated by those in power? Have they ever done that? All the laws are only targeted at the opposition. That is the issue. So, when people say, oh, let's do this, let's do that. No. Now, we are going to court now. Some presidential candidates, about 5 or 6 of them, have taken this incoming administration to court. I want to assure you that the courts will not enforce will not enforce the exhibits to be brought and evaluated before it. So how do you get justice? For me, all these elections can be conducted in one day. I have advocated that in the last 23-4 years because it was done before. On that day, everybody would be to himself and God for us all. So there would be no opportunity for anybody to assist another person because everybody is fighting for himself on that day. And when the results are tabled, you would know that the presidential ballot cannot be more than 5% more than the votes for the governor or for the Senate put together or for the House of Rep put together, plus or minus. From there, the courts can judge. There is no need for us to go to court and use primordial procedures of I serve you one day, for 21 days, you have 20 days or 2 weeks to reply. When there was an election in Kenya, the Supreme Court sat and took decision because the Supreme Court or judges of the courts are also Nigerians. If there is rigging, they know. If there is no rigging, they don't know. But the problem with our judicial system is that all the judges and all the lawyers are not looking for facts and truth of issues in the litigation. Rather, all of them are looking for the slightest opportunity to find fault such that they dismiss whatever is there. So we have to amend these laws in such a manner that let the system look for the truth, let the system look for justice and not technicalities.
Well, thank you very
much.
much.
All the elections must be done in one day. When you do the elections in one day, you can also afford to dispose of the judicial infractions within 6 months.
Okay, so Alhaji Galadima, another issue that is making headlines and was probably discussed at the meeting in France is the issue of the leadership of the 10th National Assembly. I'd like to know your thoughts on the APC's zoning formula and anointing of candidates and its impact on the independence. What likely impact is it likely to have on the independence of the legislature?
Tope, you know without doubt that I'm a Democrat. I don't believe that because somebody is president, he's more intelligent than me. I don't believe so. I don't believe that because somebody is a professor of gynecology, he's more learned than me. Because he may not know engineering. He's an illiterate. I went to somebody's house with another friend of mine, the deputy vice chairman of our party from South. And the man is a sheikh. So he saw the library of that person. Over 100,000 books. And I asked, he said, does the man read all these papers? I said, yes, because since he's an Islamic scholar, you think he's an illiterate. He may be better than you, a medical doctor, Dr. Stanley, in even the field of medicine. So, the truth of the matter is that all of us Nigerians must agree that we have to do what is right. We have to get out of the woods. When we were campaigning in the NNPP, we didn't talk of religion, we didn't talk of tribe, we didn't talk of where somebody comes from. So, there is no way you can start to take somebody's responsibility. Nigerians, the National Assembly were elected by the people, and the Constitution said they should choose their leaders. If they choose a donkey to be their leader, so be it. That is democracy. Unless, of course, we will do away with the democracy. There should be no interference. Once there is an interference from any quota, it means that the National Assembly is not going to work in our own interest. They are going to work in the interest of those who got them to where they are.
Well, Alhaji Buba Galadima, NNPP chieftain, thank you so much for joining us on Newsday. It's always a delight to have you on the program.